Victory at any cost. But what if the cost of victory is worse than the war? The Butter Battle Book by Dr. Seuss. Read by Karl. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me up to the Great Wall. For a while he stood silent, then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Ukes. On the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing the Zooks do. In every Zook house and every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down. But we Ukes, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up. That's the right, honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth. "So you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched, he has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook-watching Border Patrol." In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook straight in the eye. If he dared to come close, I could give him a twitch with my tough, tufted, prickly snickerberry switch. For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head and tongue in shame, to the chief Ukaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to bid me some sort of triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger I sure felt much better. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right out to Van Itch with my hands on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran out quite quickly. I'm quite happy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine. And he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hands on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch'em, will fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense, we'll take no more gup from you Ukes who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made a report to the chief Ukaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You did nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, my boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of a gun. My boys in the back of 'em have already begun to think about walloping whiz-zinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think one off quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought of a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder, and eggs and bees' legs and dried, deep-fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back towards the wall with our heads held up high. Everyone cheered, and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die!" Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig, "The boys in my backroom invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high-explosive sour cherry stone pits, and will put your dumb Kickapoo Kid on the fritz." Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once again by Van Itch I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home for the wall of defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low, as low as I thought they ever could go, when I heard a boom-bah and a diddle-dee-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Ukaroo had sent them to meet me, along with the right side up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boys," smiled the chief Ukaroo, "we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. You're putting your new firm's ready to get in it. The big hour is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you are certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In the great new machine to fly over that wall and clobber those buttered down zooks one and all. Those boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. There may be a thing called the utterly sputter. And I jumped aboard for my heart all aflutter and steered down toward the land of the upside down butter. The machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one quite knew exactly just what it would do. But it had faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew and go up that upside down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Inch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue guru is working just fine. I'm here to say that if ukes can goo zooks, you better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo ukes." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw, just as soon as I stepped back and land, so were all the girls of the Butter Up Band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said that was a pretty sour fight that you flew, and the chief rickaroo has been looking for you. I ran to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It's filled with mysterious moo-lackamoo, and can blow all those zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the bitsy big boy boomeroo. You just run up to the wall, like a nice little man, drop this bomb in the zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all you to stay safe on the ground while the bitsy big boy boomeroo is around." As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last uke in our land was obeying our chief ukaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter. Now when Grandfather found me, grabbed me and said, "You should be down that hole and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You see me make history, right here and right now." Grandpa leapt off that wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a bopulous beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town, full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant we heard a clup of feet on the wall, and old Van Inch clumped up. The boy in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "in a pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful. Oh, gee. Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient, Grandpa. We'll see. We will see." The end.